The Traitors Season 2, Episode 3 was another of those examples where I went into the episode thinking the votes in the banishment were going to play out one way, but as the episode progressed, it was made very clear that I had this one all wrong. My initial thoughts were that Michael and Mike would be the main names at banishment, going by what happened in Episode 2. Also, the fact that at least one of those names was mentioned at breakfast was also a factor. There was a lot of talk from the others about the previous roundtable and Mike's switching vote. The fact Mike voted for Michael despite it sounding like he was going to vote elsewhere. Funny how some were saying Mike is bad at the game, when we know he correctly voted for a traitor. Nichelle was the traitor's next victim. No surprise that Michael wasn't happy because he really wanted to get rid of Gail. I'm trying to work out why he thinks Gail's the biggest threat to him. Is it just straight up paranoia, or are we missing something? Michael's response to Dylan saying Nichelle was close to Michael is something the faithful should really keep an eye on. Lauren is starting to become aware of Michael's false reactions and brought it up with him in the car, though she seemed to buy his explanation. Some of Michael's words at breakfast didn't make sense, like he didn't know how to deal with everyone's eyes on him. Why was he talking about Nichelle like she was a traitor? I mentioned in my video about episode 2 that I was surprised Mary Jo wasn't one of the names mentioned. Turns out she was considered by Kira, though the names Mary Jo mentioned at breakfast don't exactly deem her the threat I thought she might be. Eyes were pointing in her direction, which is funny as Mary Jo was marked as someone who possibly wouldn't be suspected. As the episode progressed, it was becoming abundantly clear that the traitors made a good choice in not picking Mary Jo to be the next victim. This mission was a little extreme. This isn't the first time this mission has been used in one of the versions, but the explosions in this one seemed a little extra explosive. Dylan and Lauren went for the shield, and sometimes that doesn't go down well in this particular mission. I can't even laugh that Aaron guessed incorrectly that Tranna was in the car with him when they first arrived in the mansion. I would have had problems remembering myself. The only thing I would have remembered was being in a car purely for the fact that I wouldn't have gone in the helicopter. $9,000 was added to the price pot, which is a lot better than the $0 from last week's mission. Some guests are not who they say they are, was one of the statements. Outside of pretending to be faithful and Kira and Nick being siblings, is there somebody else hiding something? There probably isn't, but it doesn't stop my mind from speculating. Mary Jo floated the idea of possible siblings. It was interesting to hear that Tranna did speculate that Kira and Rebecca might have had a pre-existing connection, given with how close they seemed. I kept laughing when Mary Jo appeared anytime Enoch was talking about her. After the mission, when the players were talking to each other around the mansion, I kept wondering when they were going to take a shower and get changed. They all had mud on their clothes and body and were sitting on the furniture. I found it very troubling, but that's my own issue. While I was expecting Kirkland to be scrutinised, I was surprised by the way it went down. Jasmine wasn't shown to say anything at the round table, but she made it clear why she voted for Kirkland. His name appeared on a lot more people's board than I thought it would.
It's ridiculous. It's such poor gameplay and no one's seen through it. It's like these faithfuls are idiots.
I thought it was mighty bold of Kirkland calling the faithfuls idiots in his commentary when he was that exact player in the previous episode. It's not nice to be on the receiving end of false accusations. Mary Jo didn't do herself any favours, and I wouldn't have been surprised if half of the votes she received was because of what happened at the round table. I'm not even fully clear how it spun the way it did. I don't think there would have been enough votes to banish her if it wasn't for the round table, but the way she responded helped see Mary Jo banished.
So much chaos.
Once again, the traitors didn't have to lift a finger. They just had to sit back and ride the wave the faithfuls had created. If things don't shift too much during the next episode, the next banishment will be serving up yet another faithful, especially one in particular, given the votes against Kirkland.
How can someone who is as stoic as Kirk has been from day one unleashes like that, and everyone didn't see the traitor jump out of him?
He got unraveled.
Though I do wonder if anyone will take up the opportunity to vote for Enoch given what he said, if it turned out Mary Jo was a faithful.
If she is not it, you guys can vote for me. And when she says I'm a traitor, I just want to thank you from you guys. That's it.
The constant friction between Jasmine and Kirkland could prove very helpful for the traitors. Jasmine really isn't buying anything Kirkland is selling. It's a good distraction, and I wouldn't be surprised if they both exit the game pretty soon, in one way or another. When Cedric said he was no longer going to be a distraction, he did mean it. We barely saw him in the edit, and he wasn't a name brought up in the roundtable discussions. Maybe the others realised that he was just being a distracting faithful. Time will tell if his name comes up again as a potential traitor. Pac-Man, Enoch and Laurie were the candidates for murder, though Nick's name was also brought up. Michael wasn't so hot on getting rid of Gail this time, wanting another day on that decision, as Michael and Gail actually spoke to each other. Outside of the initial speculations around both Enoch and Laurie, their names have quieted down, though I'm surprised that no one brought up their initial suspicions that Laurie might not be telling the truth about who she is, given the statement in the mission about some guests are not who they say they are. I wouldn't be surprised if they chose Pac-Man for the reasons they stated. His name hasn't been mentioned amongst suspicions, so there might be a better chance of Enoch and Laurie being banished in the future.